right, it is time to do some fortune telling. Oh, I forgot to sing my bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Okay, time to do some fortune telling about my date on Saturday this week. This time I'm going to be using Skippo cards. So, one of my favorite things to do is to fortune tell about various events. Every time I have any high stakes events, right? So we had gone to see the solar eclipse in April when I did fortune telling as we got closer to the day of the eclipse, and it went very well, as you guys may remember. I fortune told before I started my job here at the community college. You guys may remember that. And where else did I fortune tell? I was having a toxic job at a tutoring center 2 years ago, and I fortune told. Yesterday, I decided to fortune tell with a coin with Mary Curry. Mary Curry has given me a lot of inspiration, so let's do some fortune telling. I'll tell you a story about Mary Curry. 11. Oh, that's not a good sign. A 9 and an 11 as my first two cards about the date, right? But you know what? It might not be a bad sign either, right? It might mean that we might have, both of us could be having difficult lives and we're going to start our next chapter by being together, right? But I don't like that, to start the very first two cards with a 9 and an 11. But, oh, you know what? Maybe that's a good sign that you guys remember the Lego art that I was working with, right? I made a to scale model of the original Twin Tower complex, right? Maybe that's a sign that you'll approve my art project, right? It could be that. Another 9. Death. In Chinese, the number 4 sounds like the word for death. But it could be that we stay together until both of us die, right? So let's try to think positively about the whole Mary Curry. 8. That means to a fortune in Chinese, right? So right now we're in a 9/11 situation, and we're gonna be together until we die, and we're gonna die with a fortune to leave to our heirs, right? But let me tell you about the Mary Curry situation. I work with bismuth art, right? I make crystals out of bismuth. And ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated with Mary Curry. And bismuth is now one of the metals that is used to make Mary Curry's signature invention. Turns out she didn't discover it that way, but we have a less expensive way to make it nowadays, right, with bismuth. But I when I first moved to Phoenix, this was 2 years ago, I was lost. I had a toxic job. I didn't have a whole lot of friends here. And I asked Mary Curry for some guidance. And on her birthday in 2022, she would have turned 155 years old. She made her presence felt. I was making bismuth crystals, and one of my crystals looked really bizarre. And when I went online to do some research about it, I discovered that's the kind of structure that polonium would make, not bismuth. And what was really funny was that bismuth is really brittle. So you gotta, if you have a good crystal that you want to save up, you put it in bubble wrap. And I had a container full of bubble wrap crystals, and the polonium one disappeared. And I don't know where it went. So I probably hallucinated it for some reason. But her presence was felt. And last year, um, I was at uh, I was at the library at Phoenix College. There was a distant cousin of hers, Mary Curry's. Mary Curry insisted that I say hello to this girl, and I did, and it did not turn out badly. It didn't turn out anything, but it didn't turn badly either. And and then another day, I was working with bismuth, and I had splattered some of the molten bismuth on my hand and burned myself. And the burn had started to heal. And then a couple days later, I saw Mary Curry again. It was on the anniversary of her wedding date. I forgot what date that was, but it was on an anniversary of her wedding day, and I still had the little mark from the bismuth burn, and I saw her holding some kind of crystal toward it, and it burned again. And when I looked, it looked like I had radiation burn on my hand, and she was wishing me luck with meeting the right person. And so that's why I decided to ask, using the coin of hers, ask if she approves of the date. And yesterday, as you guys saw, she did. So that was a good sign. I am surprised that we don't make a commemorative coin of her out of bismuth, right? Um, because it's now used to make the polonium 210. The only thing is that bismuth is really brittle. There isn't much you can add to bismuth to make it less brittle, right? Unless you add so much of some other metal that it becomes it's not even mainly bismuth anymore, right? There are alloys, right? So, for example, very pure tin is not very stable, right? It tends to decompose. You usually want to add at least 2% bismuth, right? I guess that's the only thing I can think of made of bismuth that is stable enough to make a coin, right? But even a eutectic of tin and bismuth is still pretty brittle, right? I've worked with that before as well. Let's do some more fortune telling. A 10 and a 2 and a skip. Okay, let's try to put together the story. Both of us are in a 9/11 situation, and we're gonna spend 90 years together until we die with a fortune. I'm not sure how to put the rest of this together though. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.